Hi and welcome to this week's MyMarketology Lab. I'm Tony and I'm the head marketologist. Every week we look to bring you the latest and breaking news in digital marketing to try and keep you ahead of your competition. We don't want you to miss out, so subscribe to our channel now before we get going. Now in this week's lab we'll be discussing digital transformation and how it's affecting the marketing world itself. Hopefully we'll be able to give you some insights as to what you might need to consider if you are looking to transform your business or your marketing function digitally. So first of all, what does digital transformation actually mean to marketing? Every marketing team or agency is completely different. So it means completely different things to every single person that we talk to and that you'll talk to. Even our asking around our own office, I got 7, 8 different definitions. Things like it means more changes, lost jobs, it scares me, I'm not sure. It means opportunities, and it means machines taking over. So a lot of different opinions. The biggest one really of concern is the one that says it scares me and lost jobs. Common sense would tell you that this would never be the case and that it's not something to be scared of. After all, we're marketers, we're used to change. But unfortunately, these are quite common answers that you get when talking to anyone about digital transformation. So there is that sort of underlying fear that it means that machines are going to take over and people are going to lose their jobs as a result of it. Unfortunately, some people react to any type of change in this way, though. So again, I suppose as marketers, we're no different to any other business function. If change is happening, sometimes people do become a little bit unsettled and frightened about it. For us, though, really, digital and business transformation are one and the same thing. There's no real identifiable point where digital and traditional meet anymore. It is a case of it's more about a culture change and a business change, which is another ongoing process. Digital is just something there that supports that through. Now, there are 5 sort of key areas that we've identified that are impacted on the marketing industry. Although, as I've already mentioned, every team will tell you differently, and will have their own different spin on what digital transformation actually means. But we'll look at each one in a little bit more depth. So the first one is customer first and customer experience. I've deliberately put this one first because customers and prospects need to be the main reason why we do anything. That includes any form of transformation, any type of business change, and especially in this case, digital transformation. If the changes that we make, the transformation that we go through, doesn't engage our customers and prospects and it doesn't nurture relationships with them, then it's not even worth wasting the valuable time on doing it, let alone things like budgets and resources as well. Marketing departments in large and small businesses are all under the same pressure when it comes to lack of resource, lack of time, lack of budgets as well. Marketing, though, is probably the closest department to customers when it comes to the digital age, if you want to call it that. So we can't really silo digital away from the other functions. We can't afford to do that, to be honest. It's integral to every part of the marketing world, and that is really ultimately because of buyer and customer behaviour. As they adopt to changes in the digital world, we need to adopt those changes as well because we need to keep ahead of the customer rather than just following them around and being reactive. Now, in 2011, Google released a thought paper about what they called the ZMOT, the ZMOT, or the Zero Moment of Truth. And that was a radical change in thinking around how customers behave online, or how they were behaving at that point in time, and how they're approaching the buying decisions. Obviously, with 6 years further on, nearly kind of coming into 7 years further on, and in the big scheme of things, that is a massive, massive amount of time. So you can obviously understand that those behaviours that they spotted back in 2011 have just developed further since then. In all fairness, we're probably due a new update to that thought piece that they produced. So behaviours have changed and they are constantly changing when it comes to customers, when it comes to prospects. And this is where digital transformation really affects the marketing functions. Buyers are dictating the amount of and the speed of transformation within the industry. But again, that's not anything new. It's always been the case for marketing departments, marketing teams, and to a degree sales teams as well. Buyers dictate where we need to go and how we need to react. They're telling us, although we're not following them, we can certainly use that knowledge on how they're behaving to, educate our decisions going further. So the second point is continuous change and ongoing journeys, and this probably is the one where most people are frightened and where they think the machines are taking over and where they think, where this fear comes from. It's that fear of change. To us, digital transformation is more about culture change, just as much as it is about digital change. It ties in closely with the customer first experience. Now, as well as that, we're also including here business processes as well. Some companies get it into their heads that digital transformation is a one and done process. It isn't. It never will be. It never was. Nothing really could be further from the truth than that. It's a journey that will go on for as long as technology is changing that human behaviour and the buyer and prospect behaviour. So we need to look at amending the sales funnels and marketing funnels. In some instances, we maybe even need to create new ones that actually meet the demands and the journey paths that those buyers and prospects are showing us. So adoption of new channels and new technologies that are also being adopted by prospects and clients and users is also vital to that digital transformation effort. On the flip side of that, it's not a case of chasing that shiny penny around and the next new thing. We need to educate ourselves as to where the buyers and prospects are and how they're behaving on those channels. Every business, every marketing team, every campaign, every strategy you run will be completely different. You don't need to just go sort of blanket bomb every single channel and new piece of technology out there. Know your audience, adapt your buyer personas to suit as part of the transformation process, and then you'll know exactly where you need to be and what you need to be doing. So the third point is budgeting. As you can see, it's usually about pound notes. Digital transformation comes at a cost. It might be money, as you can see on screen there. It's usually time and resource sort of consumption as well, though. Stakeholders don't often like that, especially when it comes to the monetary sort of thing, because that can eat into profits. As part of our courses, we do get asked a lot about stakeholder engagement. It is, I suppose, a new soft skill that's vital to anybody who's working in marketing and digital marketing. We're always going to have to get buy-in and approval for new budgets, especially if we're looking at digital transformation, because we're usually looking at moving into new areas and new processes and procedures. So the main issues that marketing teams are experiencing are obviously getting the stakeholders on board. The stakeholders, the C-suite, whatever you want to call them, the people who hold the purse strings, they know it's important because it's a buzzword. Digital transformation is kind of popping up everywhere. You're reading a lot of blog posts, seeing a lot of videos about it. So they know it is important, but when it comes to getting rid of that money and sharing that money out, it can be a little bit there can be a lot of resistance. So this is also one of the obstacles to digital transformation in the marketing industry. If you don't have the stakeholder buy-in, you won't get the budgets available. That means that then you'll be struggling to adopt the new technologies and new approaches going forward. So again, stakeholder engagement is a massive part of digital transformation. They may roll it down from the board or from director level and say we need to do this, that and the other. But when it comes to the brass tacks of it, they need to also be aware that, yeah, there are benefits to it, but those benefits will come at some form of cost. So next point is skills and development. Now upskilling and bridging skills gaps from universities and other education providers. The speed of change is so fast now that the sort of formal education system, universities, colleges, that type of thing, are really struggling to keep up with the speed of change in digital. It takes, X amount of years to create a university degree, especially when it comes to marketing, because there's just so much to cover. The difficult thing for them is keeping up and updating that content pretty much on a month-by-month basis. They just can't do it and get things signed off and get the lecturers in place. So there are always going to be gaps, and as the speed of change in digital happens and people go through the transformation projects, those skill gaps will get larger and larger. We've also got situations where people have been in industry for years and they're now having to embrace completely different behaviours, completely different mindsets, and sort of radically different technologies as well. Even going back 10 or 15 years ago, marketers back then were using completely different approaches as you have to do now because of that change, and digital transformation affects that to a large degree as well. For a long time, marketers could just rely on getting by with sort of outdated skills. This isn't an option any longer, though, even for the members of the C-suite. Um, Everyone has to be ahead of the game. Everyone has to at least be keeping up, even if they can't get ahead of the curve. Um, a lot of individuals are also realizing that marketing is vital for every business as well, and that a large number of consultants, unfortunately, are pulling the wool over their eyes when it comes to things like pricing, and how difficult it is to get return on investment from marketing, especially digital marketing as well. Areas such as PPC and SEO are changing at the whim of the search engines, which could be, in some cases, every hour or every day. So companies are relying heavily on consultants and agencies to look after them, mainly because their own staff have enough work to do without being able to specialise as well. Obviously, that comes at a great cost, going back to the budgeting, which obviously they're now realising they're spending a lot of money out on things like SEO and PPC consultants. So to them, it makes more sense, if they can, to have staff in-house who are trained to do those same activities. Unfortunately, some consultants, some agencies, put a veil over how sort of easy the process is of SEO and PPC in particular, how easy it actually is to do. The fact it's just time consuming, and they make it look as if it's sort of a magic skill or some form of dark art. There isn't any magic behind any of the digital marketing disciplines, no matter what a consultant or agency tries to tell you. All you need to have is some knowledge and some way of being able to draw on other people's experience. That could be reading blog posts, it could be taking part in online courses such as, MyMarketology. That's why the courses are there, so that you're not going to have to sort of be under the control of the agencies who'll tell you one thing and you don't know any better. It looks as if it's some magic that they're weaving there. So it gives you the ability to do that. So obviously skills and development is another big area that's affected when there's any form of change, when there's any form of transformation. So again, worth bearing in mind. Now the last point is technology. When it comes to digital transformation, this sort of underlies right across the board. Technology doesn't solve transformation, and it doesn't solve digital transformation. Only culture change can do that, with the support of new technology or existing technology out there. It's always got to go back to that customer first experience. When it comes to transformation, you've also got to think about staff and employees as well. Technology is there to make life easier. It's not there to force digital transformation. It's there to make people's lives easier. So you've seen a lot of adoption of new technologies across the digital marketing arena. So for a long time, it only meant social media. Obviously, that's not the case now. There's a lot of other different options out there. But you've got things like artificial intelligence, which is being adopted for sort of data analysis, data mining, even for optimizing things like AdWords and social media posts, and to a degree, email marketing as well. You've got things like augmented reality and virtual reality that's being used as well. So again, new technology forcing, to a degree, that digital transformation. Customer experience comes first. If augmented reality and VR advertising strikes a better chord with them, it's more relevant to them, it's more than likely going to get you a greater return on investment, depending on how much it costs you to implement them in the first place, and that goes back to your budgeting and obviously skill set as well. We're looking at things like chatbots. They make life a lot easier on things like Facebook Messenger or any chat options that you might have on your website. Again, they're quite quick and sort of easy to set up to a degree. There's a lot of software out there that allow you to set up chatbots, but again, it's a mindset change, because you're going to be sort of dealing with customer service through a chatbot if you were to implement them, rather than maybe a bank of customer service staff. So again, it's that mindset change as well as just the fact the technology's there. You've also got things like live video and streaming as well. The Internet of Things, or Internet of connected devices, if you want to call it that. So basically things like Alexa, Amazon Echo, you've got Google Home, Apple are releasing their versions as well. You've got AI assistants, so Siri, Bixby, and various other artificial intelligence assistants out there, personal assistants. You've also got marketing automation and things like data visualization as well. So all these are making people's lives easier, whether that's customers, whether it's prospects, whether it's staff, and that can then obviously drive digital transformation. So there's a lot of devices when you look at the Internet of Things. So we're not just talking about smartphones and tablets. They're connected devices naturally, but you're also now looking at things like fridges and freezers, toasters, kettles, Fitbits or smart watches, smart buttons such as Amazon's offering. They all count too. So there's a lot of technology out there changing people's behaviour and customer behaviour in particular, and that there requires transformation on all levels. Things like data collection, data analysis, gaining insights, optimizing work, taking that into account as well. It all needs new ways of thinking and approaching, away from maybe those more traditional type of approaches and processes. You might have even noticed your own behaviours changing over the last few years, maybe even the last few months. If you maybe got a connected device for Christmas, a smartwatch or something like that, has that changed how you manage your time? Has it managed your emails, your work habits, all that type of thing too? So what that means to us as a business is quite a few things. Obviously, constant change is one, and that's just to keep up with the speed of change. Obviously, as a sort of learning provider, we need to keep ahead of the curve so that we can make sure that you're getting the most up-to-date and relevant information, that it's not behind the times. So for us, it does mean a lot of legwork, a lot of background research, looking at trends, looking at the latest white papers that are coming out from a lot of the tech firms, and seeing how that might affect customer behaviour going forward, and then try to work out how that's going to affect the marketing world as well. So we have a lot of work just keeping up. It also means the creation of new courses and updating existing courses as well, because again, we want to give you the most up-to-date information and the breaking stuff, not the old information that you can just read on any blog post. So again, we need to keep refreshed, and again, that's an advantage of the fact that we're creating the bite-sized videos. We're not creating lengthy university lectures and style degrees there that just can't keep up for you. We're obviously keeping our content as fresh as we possibly can and ahead of the times. It also means working agile as well. So we need to fail fast, we need to learn, and we need to move on too. So you may see us changing direction every now and again with maybe things like our marketing, things like maybe the animation on our videos, the ways we're presenting this information to you as well. We're looking to try things, we're looking to learn from them, and we're looking to move on. We're not so much suffering from that sort of paralysis of fear when it comes to business change, when it comes to transformation, when it comes to the digital world. That's the world we live in. You need to embrace that and not be frightened of trying new things. If it doesn't work at the end of the day, you've not lost anything. You just move on, and you know for next time to try something else. It also means to us handling queries from clients who are lost amongst all those requirements to transform the business again and again and again. It's like we said, it's an ongoing journey. It's not just a one and done situation, and every sort of phase you go through when it comes to transformation can bring up new issues for you. And it also means upskilling our staff as well. Our staff are no different to any other marketing teams and businesses out there. When we're changing things, when we're going through our transformation phases, if you will, and as we're learning on the go to keep the courses refreshed, we need to keep our staff up to date as well, because there's no point just creating a course to share with everyone if your own staff don't know it too. So that's sort of what it means to us. So last one really is the big one. And digital transformation, the reason why we're not frightened of it is because it gives us new opportunities. It gives us a chance to get in front of new audiences and try new ways of getting in front of audiences. And it gives us just opportunities to try new things and embrace the change rather than be frightened of it. So again, digital transformation shouldn't be something to be feared. You need to break it down into small bite-sized phases that you can take one at a time, hit them fast, learn from the decisions that you make, the approaches that you use, learn from it and move on. If it doesn't work, go back to that phase again and try something different. Keep your staff up to date, keep on top of the news, keep following, obviously, YouTube channels like our labs as well, because again, we're trying to keep you up to date with things, but we will miss things. So there are other channels that are out there as well that will also support that knowledge, and they're the workplaces that we're also looking to make sure we're completely up to date. So thank you very much for attending and following us again this week. Hopefully you've seen a little bit of insight as to how digital transformation is affecting us as a business, and also the digital marketing world. As I say, they're not hard and fast rules and not hard and fast observations they're just ours. Other marketing teams, other marketers out there, and yourselves will have probably found other sort of areas that transformation's affecting as well. Now, feel free to contact us if you've got any questions. You can call us on the number on screen, or you can email us at hello@mymarketology.com. We're always open to any questions that you might have. We're also trying to get back into our daily video answers as well for any questions that come through from our users or anyone watching this channel. So again, if you've got any questions, leave a comment below, send us an email at that email address again, or contact us through any of our social media channels such as Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. We're also offering our free digital marketing course. You can attend that. You can register for that through the link on screen there. So bit.ly/free DM course. You can also visit our website, which is mymarketology.com. And we've also got our blogs available there. So mymarketology.com and mymarketology.com/labs. So thank you again for joining us this week. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if not, I look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks for joining us again. Bye-bye now.